Implemented Portfolio's recent Thought Leaders study tour saw the advice industry's best and brightest head to San Francisco to learn from fintech leaders in Silicon Valley. Here today to discuss some takeouts from the tour is Implemented Portfolio's founder, Santi Burridge. Santi, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
Now, Santi, you've made 14 trips to the US over your career. Based on this latest tour, how do you think that technology is going to change the wealth management industry in years to come?
Well, so look, this trip was all about technology. So some of the previous trips I did, we were trying to work out how to spell different things, trying to work out how to run better business models, and this one was just very focused on how technology is going to change the way that we do business as an advice industry. And I guess we all came away a little bit horrified of how quick this is occurring and how quickly we're going to have to adapt our business models. Some of the statistics we were hearing, I think I should put it into context. We saw everyone through the industry, from advice practitioners through to thought leaders, to consultants, through to technology companies and massive independent licensees or firms over there. So we got this great byproduct of the market of what's occurring, and what we started to hear was 16,800 startups in the Valley currently thinking about technology, just 16,800 startups, of which about 800 of them are focused on financial services. So at that point we started to get concerned, and much of the takeouts we actually took, and I guess I'm going to quote, not specifically, but all the people that came, and when we debriefed on the last night, most of us agreed that technology was going to eat our lunch. Like, it was definitely trying to destroy our business models and take away our clients. And the way it was put to us was, in the past, Silicon Valley or technology has been an arms dealer. So they have sold their world's best technology to institutions who have then gone and sold their world's best technology to their investors or clients. And that recently Silicon Valley shifted. And it shifted quite importantly to us because they're no longer an arms dealer and now mercenaries. And they want to attack us. And they want to take our clients. And what we all started to think about was, how do we adapt our business models to take into account that, and this was confronting, that they're better than us. That they are actually going to be better at engaging our clients than us. That they're going to know more about our clients than us. That they're going to have richer data, they're going to be able to curate it better, they're going to be able to target our clients much more specifically than we can currently do in the way that the advice industry delivers advice. So we all got kind of scared by that, and we all started to think about what that meant to us. And the first thing was, just jumped out in the open, was independence. And over there, the advice industry shifted independently rapidly over the last 10 to 15 years. It's now the largest space by some margin. The institutional model's been destroyed, and so it should, because it's been very much a product-based model, and that the independent model's been very much about a service-based model. And so I guess, and I'll probably talk about this as we go through this, the fundamental shift is this move from a product-based model to a service-based model. And it sounds like blah, 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 and most advisors will say, I'm really great at servicing, but they're not, because the product's put first. And when the product is put first, it actually affects your ability to service. And what we just jumped out again and again and again at these dynamic businesses. We're all focused on the client and the service proposition, and the investment proposition was put last. The product was put last. It actually didn't matter, the platform or the funds or the SMAs or just none of it mattered. It was gone, and it was actually so wonderfully refreshing to hear businesses talking about creating the world's best client journey. So we all came away thinking that independence is going to boom, the institutional model is over. Great. Couldn't agree more with that. Think that's the right thing for the industry to go. And how data is going to shift the game. And so the other key learning was data. We need to control it. Right now, most advice businesses' data of a client is what the advisor has in their head and a pen and paper file note. Technology is going to be able to mine a data every second, every minute, every day, and it will know exactly what our clients are doing with us and other parts of our value chain. So they know how to market to them, and they know how to position their services to them, and they know how to curate information to them. So I guess those were the major things we took away from it, and data are probably one, as we go through this conversation, will be something that keeps jumping out.
And can you give us some examples of businesses that are doing new and innovative things over there?
Yeah, well, I guess we saw a lot of businesses doing quite incredible things, and one of the things we actually saw was an incubator, which is not a word we use very much in financial services in this country, but we actually went and visited Yodlee's incubator group, where they bring in they have a graduate program of small businesses trying to work out really how to use data to create better business models, and they support those businesses while they grow. So that was pretty cool, and some of the stuff we saw there, I mean, shocked us. Like, we were, one business, in essence, we saw the end of the PAYG tax return. Gone, finished. When we all went away from that going, tax returns are done, finished. Like, the whole industry is over. Now, that business is not here yet, but it's launched in the US. I guess from my perspective, which I was probably more interested on the advice side, there was two businesses that I have always wanted to meet, and I've met a lot of the great independents over there, but I never met these two. Personal Capital was one, and Hightower was another. Hightower is a $30 billion independent advice business run out of Chicago, so $30 billion in assets they manage, so pretty impressive for an independent. But what was extraordinary about some of the research they gave us is what their best practices are doing. And I'll probably start at the end, because at the end I was just in awe of the fact that the last thing that they mentioned was the investment piece. And this is where the whole conversation is shifting in the US, is how do we stop talking about investments? How do we start talking about the client and its journey and creating the world's best journey for them? Because the destination, the product, is over. Alpha is gone, and in context of, I guess, blockchain and information being free from now on, the concept of alpha creation in investment management actually was argued to be dead, which I think is a good thing, right? Because I don't see any value in advisors picking the next winning fund or share, as I said before. So they put investment last, but what they said was so critical to me. I just thought it was right on. They said, number 7's investment, but it's got to be done scalably and consistently and highly engaged. It's nothing about product. Just do it scalably and consistently, because we're all going to get the same performance. So just do it great. And that was really cool. 1 through to 6, if I can remember it correctly, was more focusing about profitability, creating the right culture within your business, being very marketing and sales focused, systems orientated business model. How do we use the client's data to create the best journey for them? Nothing about product. All about utilising technology to create a better business for all clients, advisors, shareholders. So I thought that was really cool, that business model. And if anyone wants to look at them, Google Hightower. They have a really great little game they play around independence versus institutionally aligned. The other one, obviously, being Personal Capital. Many people who've been listening to me for the last couple of years will know they've been talking about them. I've been watching them, trying to understand them. Well, now I met them, so that's kind of cool. What they've done is, and look, most of the best businesses have done this, they've just done it in a very technology-enabled way, is data aggregation based. So they know everything about their investor, client, everything. They know their bank accounts, their credit cards, their frequent flyer accounts, their insurances, everything. They're a document data vault. Everything is stored in one place. So they know everything, literally every asset a client has in one place, and they offer that as a service to their clients, for their clients to go online and see everything in one place. They launched advice not long ago. They've now gathered 3.3 billion very quickly. And what was incredible about this, and there's something that we're going to be focusing on the next study tour, was their average advisor is managing 400 to 600 clients per advisor. Now, there's many advisors in this country who will just go, can't be done, you'll be a crap at service, you surely can't know that many people. I could not disagree more. Their ability to engage their client around technology separates them from nearly any sales practice I've met in this country. They know more about their client, they know how to engage them about things that interest them via technology. I'll give you an example. You wake up the next day, we wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, we want to know what our clients did yesterday. They know what every client did yesterday on their system. What they looked at, what they opened, what PDF they downloaded, everything. So Sarah went on and she looked at performance report, and was going to email Sarah the next morning and say, hey Sarah, by the way, in fact I won't email, I'll send her a video. Morning, Sarah, I just want to let you know that performance is going really great, or we've had an issue in the last few months, and the portfolio team are always here if you want to speak to them. Hope you have a great day. We know what you did yesterday, so we can get proactive in our communication to you. Again, all video orientated. In fact, it was put to us, never respond to a client's email via email. Respond them by video. So they are able to create much richer content by having Skype meetings, go-to meetings, whatever, with their clients for half an hour because they know so much more about them. And so they were two business models that I just thought were exceptional and could definitely change the game here.
So as a result of these new technologies, how do you think advisor business models are going to change, and how do you think consumer expectations of advice are going to change?
So there's no question in my mind that advisors have to shift their focus from managing product and platform to managing a service. And that's the fundamental shift, and hopefully that's clear, but if it's not, it's just really focusing. We've got to stop asking, it was put to someone actually who spoke to us, who was just probably the highlight for me, a gentleman by the name of Rich Arnold. He said he went and saw PIMCO when there was 3 of them. Now obviously they turned into, if not the biggest fund manager in the world, close to it. And the first question he asked them when he met them in 1975, I think he said 1975, I remember that because that was the year I was born. He said, how's your performance? And their response floored him, which was, we've never lost a client. What he took away from it, and what I got a sledgehammer moment, was we've been asking everyone we meet as this advice industry for years is, how's your performance? The fund manager, the SMA manager, the hedge fund, the stockbroker. How's your performance? It's exactly the wrong question that's driven us to a place where we've become product orientated, not service orientated. And to flip it on its head, if the client asks you, how's your performance? We've never lost a client. We don't lose clients. We rarely lose clients. It's the wrong question for you to be asking me, because if you ask me about performance, I'm going to start selling your product. If you ask me about our service, I'm going to start selling you a great service. So that was a really fundamental shift, and I hope I can get that across to the people watching this, that if you can work that out, you've got a big chance to play in the game, that we're going to be focusing around service and the journey. Now, critical to having the world's best service is you've got to be able to mass customise. And so now the US are all talking about this, the ability to treat 1,000 clients by technology around their portfolios and have every one of those changes implemented without the need of going back to the client, but also remembering all the client's individual preferences, likes, dislikes, tax, God help us actually treat individuals for tax, anything that the client wants. I want to own Google, I don't want to own more property, I'd rather never sell me that BHP shares because it's got a large capital gain, but be able to do that not by pen and paper and people, but to be able to do it by technology. Now that I can mass customise, so I've achieved that in my business, I can focus on what actually the game is going to be played in the near future and mass personalisation of advice. How do I, like personal capital, how do I curate my data to focus on clients' goals, their journey, their values? How do I help them achieve the stuff in life that truly matters? Because alpha and performance does not matter. It is gone, it's a zero-sum game. How do I focus on that bit? So most of the best business models we all saw, and I've seen over the previous years, are all playing in that game now. How can we personalise advice to the client and help you understand what truly drives you and help you truly get there? And some research I saw in previous trips was quite compelling around this, when I think they had about 300 clients earning more than 250 grand a year were asked by a company called Rydell Institute. What were the turning points of their life and what were the biggest things that they went to seek from an advisor, and 93% of them never mentioned money. 7% of them mentioned money. 93% said the turning points where they wanted help were jobs, families, children's, moving states, cities, whatever it may be, the turning points in life and helping me get through those things. So the advisor's role is going to shift, and it has to shift. There's some critical things to get there. The clients are going to demand that. So the clients are going to aren't going to pay for alpha. In an information-free world where blockchain curates all the data, where it's trusted and networked, alpha's gone. So they're not going to pay for it. So what are they going to pay for? And what do they pay for anyway? They've always only really paid for the trust in the advisor relationship, that human connection the advisor has with its client. So how do we get more brilliant at that, and how do we service that demand? Because the clients are going to be asking, help me get to my goals, help me have a more fruitful and valuable life, help me deal with the things that I found really complex. Don't help me outperform, because I don't believe you can do that, and don't sell me that. And while you're doing that model, you're never going to be able to compete with what's coming. So the clients are going to change. They're going to want more regular information. They're going to want to know what's going on in their portfolios, but they don't want to ring an advisor and have a meeting in relation. They want to do that. They want to get on the Skype or the video or the phone or a meeting in person and have a conversation around what's actually happening in my life and how can you help me get there.
And finally, what are some practical things that advisors can do now to prepare for the changes that fintech is likely to bring to the local market?
So we kind of asked that same question to many of the speakers that came, and probably the best way I was explained to me was create your own avatar. So in that context, it was your perfect client today. Create them, Sarah, and how do I service her? What does she actually want from me, and how do I get better at delivering that? And then go out 5 years and make avatar number 2, and what is she going to want from me then? And how do I build my business to make sure that I'm going to be able to service her in 5 years' time? And I guess some of that we don't know, but the reason why we actually did this trip was trying to work out what we do need to be doing today in order to be preparing ourselves to service Sarah in 5 years' time. So I'd create an avatar today and for 5 years, and I would build my service model, not my product model, my service model all around that client and how I can do that better. There is no question you're going to have to go independent. Lowest common denominator licensing models that don't care about your client's journey, that actually just care about the product, is over. And we've seen that in the US, and advisors are going to have to go independent to achieve their potential. Culture is a massive one. This one kind of hit us all like a sledgehammer, and I think most of us were envious of what we experienced over in the US was this amazing culture around innovation, but also pride around failure. It's okay to fail. It's okay to almost, in Australia, if you failed, people would maybe tend to knock you down and go, he's failed, therefore I wouldn't work with him. He's too successful, so don't work with him. The tall poppy thing. Over there, does not exist, right? You failed, congratulations. Did you learn anything from it? Yes, I did. Wow, what are you doing now? Very, very different. It's very, very, very different notion of the word pride too. So culture was a massive one. We kept hearing these two words, the ability to iterate and pivot. And so every culture, if I could create the perfect culture today in any of my businesses, I would be trying to do this now. Well, I am. We've got to have a culture of being willing to iterate and pivot. That didn't work. We had to go at that. That's okay. We failed. We've learned. Shift. But to do that, we need to be in control of our businesses. And if I'm explaining the licensing model to a US advisor, and assuming you're a US advisor, and how it works in Australia is we get these licensees and they tell us what we can and cannot do. They limit our technology to what they think is appropriate. They try and make us use their expensive platforms, and they have an approved product list that allows us to work within certain investments. And they look at you like you're an idiot. I mean, really? You hang on, just play this back to me, Sandy. You just said you've taken all the risk to run your own business. Yep. And you pay all your staff. Yep. And the clients pay you. Yep. But someone's in control of everything else you do. Yep. That makes no sense. Are you guys nuts? What's wrong with you Australians? It's obvious, right? We need to be in control of our delivery. So independence has to thrive. The industry has to act independently. Industry has to put technology at the core, the journey at the core. And I think this advice industry does nothing to fear. The old world has a heap to fear. We're not going to be managing 100 clients. We're going to be managing 500 or 1,000, and we're going to be doing it better than we do when we manage 100.
Great. Santi, thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure.